I don't know what this is all about, to be honest with you.
Said, probably better take the rest of your stuff, because it might take you a long time.
Alright.
223, questions on the homework.
We don't have See ya. All work. It's pretty easy.
Easy stuff, just go on. Stuff we do today is a little tougher. I know I keep saying that, but today is we'll start doing a little harder formula and stuff. So we're ready?
I guess.
Compound interest. Dealing with compound interest, these are the notes. We're going to learn two different ways to deal with compound interest. That chart that got passed out to you, hang on to it, that's one of the ways, using that chart. And then a formula, using the formula is the other way. When we find compound interest, it shouldn't make any difference which of those two methods you use. It should come out the same both ways. So once we do both of them, you figure out, well, I shouldn't say that because some of the times it is going to matter which way you do it because the chart only shows you so much. If we printed out a chart that'd be about 50 pages long with every possible interest rate and time period and so on, then we could use that, but since we don't have that, there's no sense to print all that out. What compound interest is, last time we dealt with simple interest. Simple interest, again, was just interest added onto the interest paid on the principal of whatever amount that you have in that account. Compound interest is interest earned not only on the original principal, but also on the interest earned during the previous periods. So it keeps adding on to the account, whatever it is. Period is the amount of time. Fourth one down. Amount of time. Examples, you got annually, quarterly, monthly, daily. I'm going to write out here. Sorry. Should have been on pen. What's annual mean?
Yearly.
All right, so that's yearly. Let's go semi-annual.
Every 6 months.
Semi-annual is every 6 months. Quarterly.
Every 3 months. 90 days or 3 months.
3 months. Can't spell. Let's see, we got that. Monthly. How many times a year? 12.
Weeks.
And that's probably what I should have done here is I probably should have put, if it's annual, it's 1 time a year. If it's semi-annual, it's how many times a year?
2.
2.
Quarterly, 3, 6, 9, 24.
Get done that quick.
They have no tax payable.
If it's quarterly, it's how many times a year? 4. Monthly is 12 times a year. Weekly would be what? 52 times a year.
52.
And then daily,
Does daily have 2 L's in it?
no,
No,
Now it does.
it does today.
365.
365 times.
Well, I'm gonna think of 56.
52, you're probably just getting
I
65.
think he's getting the bi-weekly pay is what it is.
Oh, yeah, bi-weekly if we did that, or bi-monthly.
Yeah. That's what it is. Told you. 56.
So, you're gonna have to know all these, we went over them earlier this year, know all them, so you know what they're talking about. Usually the ones that we deal with when we're talking about interest, will either be daily, monthly, or quarterly. Those are the ones that usually, for interest, they go, or use.
There's some yearly.
What?
Is there some yearly?
Yeah, annual would be,
Like, it's
real simple savings accounts and stuff, they might just do it annually. Now, we will talk about like CDs and stuff, where they only add on the interest annually, because when you take out a CD, you have to keep it in there for a certain amount of time. And so if you decided you wanted the money out of that CD halfway through the year,
You don't get it.
you don't get the interest, you get your original balance, and there may be a fee for taking it out early or something, and so then you actually end up losing money.
Wonder where this interest comes from. Sure, it comes from someone.
Well, what they're doing is they're using your money to make them money,
Oh, yeah, true.
so then they pay you from that. So from their, what money they make, they pay you the interest from that.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, this is the formula. Notice there's 2 separate formulas here. I'm going to explain them. Please don't get these 2 formulas mixed up. Make sure you write down this top one's the one that I'm going to use. This is the one that the book sort of uses. Write down this top one. I'm going to explain it. The book, and I'm going to try to be consistent as we go through all this stuff. The book likes to change things. This stands for this one time, that stands for something else the next time, and I don't like the way that they do it. So that's why we have that top formula there. Very important that you write down that formula and you're careful with the way you write it down and with what each number stands for, or what each letter stands for.
shit, forgot about the bottom.
Is the NT, does that mean time in years?
What's that say, 1.0?
The, T is, I'm sorry, I didn't put my arrow, did I?
Plus.
The T is time in years.
What does the N mean?
The N is still the number of
Oh,
times.
the same thing?
Yep.
Okay.
Notice the only difference in the top formula and this bottom formula
It's a R.
is they let R stand for the rate per period. And I'd rather R just stand for the rate of interest, and then you divide that by N in the formula. And the book switches it around. One time they'll write R is percent divided by the number of times per year. Next time they'll say that R just stands for the percent. I'd rather it just stood for one thing all the way consistently through the book instead of something different each time. That's why this formula that the book uses, I'd rather not use it. It doesn't take that much to divide this. This formula looks a little tougher than this one, but there's really no difference. All right, so what you're doing with this formula, this is your principal. That's how much money you put into the account. The 1 is just a one like $1. R is the rate of interest. N is the number of times per year that the interest gets added in. So if it's quarterly, it'd be 4 times. If it's semi-annually, it'd be twice. If it's monthly, it'd be 12, so on and so on. N stands for the same thing here. T has to be time in terms of years. So if it's 2 years, you just put 2 in there. If it's 6 months, then you'd have to put half a year or 0.5 in there for that T. Now what we're going to do, I'm going to skip this because I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Just gonna do it. All right.
So all we have to say is we don't want to do it.
Yeah. Just doesn't work when you turn stuff into me. All right, write these 2 down. The amount is your principal plus your interest. That's what you're going to get using the formula. So if you use the formula, you get your amount. That's the total amount that's in the account after the interest is added in, or at the end of whatever period you're looking at. To find the interest, to find your compound interest, you got to take that amount minus your original principal. That'll tell you how much interest you made on that account. All right, what we're gonna do, I'm gonna put up the assignment, and then we're gonna do some off the first page together, then we're gonna go back to the notes, so we're gonna jump back and forth, just so I can show you how to do the two different ways. Does that make sense? No? So write that down, get out a clean sheet of paper, write that down, we're gonna do a few off of page 226 together at first. Then we'll jump over back to the notes, and I'll show you how to use the chart also. Everybody got that? Number one, Liz Reynolds deposits $2,000 in a savings account that pays 8% compounded quarterly. Yeah, like that's not gonna happen ever in your guys' lifetime, but complete the table to compute the amount in the account after 1 year. So what they're doing here is they're doing it all separately and then putting it in there just to show you this is what the formula actually does. It takes all this into consideration. All right? So they're having you find the interest at the end of the first quarter, then second quarter, then third quarter. So if we look at A, it says the amount at the end of the first quarter. So all you do there
Would it be the same amount?
is you just add those two. What do you get for A then? 2,040. So A is $2,040. You just add that interest onto it. B is just using that simple interest formula again like we did last time. You got 2,040 times 8 times 1/4. What's 1/4 as a decimal? So somebody help me out on your calculators. 2,000 times 8 times 0.25.
$40.8.
40.8. What is that? And money-wise?
$4.80. For
$40.80. So that's the amount of interest they're going to earn. Then you're going to do with that is take this and add it to that, the original amount. So what's that give us for letter C? How much does she have in the account now?
$2,080.80.
That's letter C. D, they want you to find the interest for the third quarter. So to find that interest, you're going to take this answer times, what was the percentage rate again? So that times 0.08 times 1/4 again.
41.62.
So how much interest did she earn in the third quarter? $41.62. Now we take answer from C, answer from D, add those two together. That'll tell us how much she has in the account now.
42 cents. Yeah, 42.
So after 3/4 of the year, she has $2,122.42 in the account. To get F, we take that answer times the 8% again, times the 1/4. Now, what they're trying to show you doing all this, you see how much interest she earned the first quarter? $40.80. Then she earned a little more the second quarter because that all got added in. Now she's up to almost $42.50 for the third quarter. And what do we do with those two? Add them together. And that's going to give us her total amount in. So, am I not on G? How come I'm not on G? How come I'm not that's what they are?
Should be G. 2000. G. G's over here.
G's.
They write the interest twice.
Oh, did they write it twice? Oh, well, just fill it in the way we got it. What's that answer give you?
2,164.87.
G, I, G, H.
That's the wrong thing, but it's in the wrong spot, but oh well. So how much is she gonna end up with at the end of the year? How much interest did, where could we get the amount of interest that she drew?
Minus.
Take this, 64, 87, and subtract off what she actually started with. How much did she start with?
So here,
2,000.
164.87.
So about $164.87. That'd be the amount of interest that she drew in that year. Now, if we have all that, our P was 2,000. Our rate was 8%, correct? And our time was, what did they say, for 1 year, right? And then our N, how many times per year was she getting the interest added in? 4. Now, if we use that formula that I gave you back on the other slide,
Where's that piece of paper we got?
Where'd he
this formula, I'm gonna write it up here so we just have it up here. If we use that formula just to find our total amount, we should come up with this. So this is where I need you to have your calculators out and make sure that you know how to do this. Oops. Our principal is 2,000. Shouldn't have that parenthesis there.
2,000 times
2,000 parenthesis 1 plus our rate is 0.08 times N, how many times per year was it? 4. Then the exponent out here is N times T. N is 4, T is 1, so it's just 4 times 1. Now on your calculators, make it sure that you're doing this so that you're plugging it in there right and everything. All you're going to do on your calculator, trying to think what's the easiest way here.
2,000.
Not what I did, I got 8,000.
1 plus.
That's what I got.
I got 8,160. And I punched it in just like that.
You punched in just like that?
Yeah.
With parentheses and everything?
Yep.
2,000.
That's what I'm trying to remember.
$8,160.
Yep.
Yeah, I did, I punched it in. Just-
Alright, so you guys are punching in somehow?
We're just doing 2,000, parentheses, 1 plus .08 divided by 4, parentheses, 4 times 1.
Yeah.
Got that same answer, didn't I? Really close.
I don't think this is right.
Alright, so on your calculator, I'll tell you what buttons to push. Alright, so just follow along, make sure you're doing it the exact same way I'm doing it. Type in 2,000, parentheses, 1 plus .08 divided by 4, close the parenthesis. Now listen closely on this. When you get to this part, I think this is where you guys are messing it up. There's a little button on your calculator and it looks like this.
This is the answer.
Yeah,
That's pretty close. It should be.
Yeah, I don't have that button.
Yeah, it's with the ones that don't print across, that's what I'm saying. See if you can find, here.
I also don't think mine has one.
Yeah,
It's a triangle.
Right there.
It raises it up.
Okay, I'm going.
4 times 1.
And then hit that button, hit that, it's called a caret. Hit that little caret button, and then you can type in 4 times 1, or, what is 4 times 1?
4.
4, so just type in 4.
You're smart.
And what's it give you?
That answer?
2,000.
So, mine comes up 2164.86.
Yeah.
So I'm a penny off.
The reason I jacked up is because I thought that was 4.1, not 4 times.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
why I
that would-
jacked up.
That would change it.
So the way we did do it, would that be the same?
It'd be different.
'Cause
So-
we got 8,000. so-
What, yeah, right, whatever you guys were doing, something wasn't right. I think what you guys were doing is somehow you were putting the exponent, the 4 times 1, that exponent, on all of it.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. Because it was parentheses and then we just did 4 times 1, not the caret.
So you gotta make sure that you use that caret right there to get to that.
So how are we a penny off?
Now, just because this one, when we went through and did it, we kept rounding. We rounded like 4 different times,
Could have been, yeah.
and we weren't exact every time. The calculator's doing it, just keeping all those exact numbers in there.
Yeah. A penny ain't that much.
Who invented the calculator?
John calculator.
Was he a smart man?
Smart as you, Dylan.
He must have been pretty smart if he been one of these.
Look at number. Was we supposed to do number 2?
We already did it.
No. We just did number 1.
Oh,
That's,
we did do number 2, didn't we?
1 and
Yeah.
2 were like combined.
Yeah, they were combined together. I put them all in one because I had my steps on. Look at number 3. Number 3. Now these we're just going to be using the formula on. Alright? So follow along. Make sure you're using your calculator. Elijah's make sure he's punching stuff into his calculator. These problems aren't that hard because your calculator does all the work for you. If you know how to punch it into the calculator for sure. Alright? We just got to find each of these things each time. What's our principal on number 3?
900.
What's our rate on number 3?
6%.
So we're gonna change that to .06.
Yeah, 26.
What's our T, what's our time?
Quarterly,
How many years are we doing on this?
4.
4 years?
Quarterly, oh, years. There ain't no years.
Is there no years?
It's just quarterly. So 4 times a year. So 1 year probably.
Oh, they're doing it all separate.
Quarterly, monthly, quarterly, annual. Could we just do it as a year?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it as 1 year. Then what's our end? How many times per year if we're doing it quarterly? Just so we can see if we're using the calculator correctly. The amount. Our principal is 900, parentheses 1 plus our rate is .06 over 4, and then 4 times 1 year, that'd be 4 times 1,
Which is 4.
which is just 4. Type that into your calculator, see what you come up with.
Very small. I got a very small.
You got what?
Very small.
Very small number. Should be bigger than 900.
It is.
If it's not bigger than 900, then they're ripping you off or something.
Yeah, 955.
22 cents.
0.23. You gotta keep getting that.
I can get it.
20.
955.23 cents.
955.23, everybody agree with that? Anybody not getting that on their calculator?
Did you get it right?
Got it. Now, that's the amount that's in the account after a year. How much interest did they earn in that year?
$55.23.
$55.23.
So, the interest be A and the amount be.
Yeah, well, just write those two answers down, I don't care. Because they're doing it quarterly and we just said we weren't gonna do it that way.
A, B, with AI. We're gonna put I and B.
So we're gonna make up stuff as we go through this. Is that all right, Elijah? It's not actually following the book.
So, make it up as you go along.
We don't like to follow this. It teaches us what we do.
I just don't like books.
Number 4. What's the principal they give us on number 4?
100.
What's the rate they give us?
It's the same as last one, so 0.06.
0.06. Now, we're gonna do this time. Our time, let's make our time, so these answers aren't gonna match up to the book's answers. I don't know how many years you wanna leave this money in there.
10 years.
10 years? So 10 years. And our in, let's say, our in,
Semi,
you wanna go semi-annual?
which is 2.
No, let's just keep it quarterly.
Keep it quarterly? Which one you guys wanna do? Quarterly?
Quarterly.
So how many times per year? 4.
So 400.
So we plug into that formula.
So it would be 4, when you do the carrot, it would be 4 times 10.
Yep. So it's 400, 1 plus .06 divided by 4. And then our exponent up here this time is going to be 4 times
4 times 10.
10. What is 4 times 10? I would probably do that in my head before I punch it into my calculator.
$725.
61.
61 cents.
$725.61.
That don't seem like much.
So that's how much is in the account after 10 years. How much interest did this person earn on their $400?
$325.61.
So if you put $400 in the account and left it in there for 10 years, you'd earn about $325.61 on it.
That's not that good.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I mean,
it's-
for 400.
You almost doubled your money and you didn't do anything.
I mean, if it was like $1,000.
Right, if you had 1,000, then it'd be,
Higher. A lot higher.
so let's do the same thing on number 5.
So, 4A.
On number 5, let's make up our terms here. Our principal, what do they tell us our principal is?
$2,360.
So this one should be a little higher, right? Because we're putting more money into the account. What's the rate this time? Still 0.06? 4.5?
Yep.
So what's 4.5?
4.5.
Is it, so that's 4.5, but is a, or as a decimal, what's it gonna be?
0.045.
0.045, make sure you know that. T, let's make up a time here. I'm gonna change it this time. Let's go 6 months. We're gonna keep N as 4. We're still doing it quarterly?
Yeah. It says semi-annually.
Oh, does it say semi-annually? Now let's do quarterly. We'll change that too. So our A equals our principal times 1 plus 0.045 divided by 4. What are we gonna do with the 6 months on our time? 0.5. So it's 4 times 0.5. What is 4 times 0.5, or what's half of 4? 2. So all that would just be 2 when you type it into your calculator.
2,413 and 40 cents.
Anybody else get that?
Yep. Okay, A.
How much interest did this person earn? Now you don't have to actually use your calculator. Can't just do it in your head. What do we do to figure out how much interest?
236.
Subtract this minus the original principal. $53.40. Everybody agree with that? Now Dylan's gonna say again, well, that don't seem like a whole lot. You put $2,000 in there and you only earn $53. You earn $53 in what amount of time?
In a half a year.
A half a year.
Which ain't horrible.
That's not bad. You didn't do anything, you just left the money set in there and it earned $53.
You could pull that $53 out in 6 months.
The longer you leave it in there, Dylan, the more money you get.
Oh, I'll worry about that. I can't save the money. I just spend it. Spend it while you're young. It'll be broken.
Number 6. Now we're getting up to bigger numbers, aren't we?
Yeah.
What's the principal this time?
$18,260.
60?
Yeah. $260.
What's the rate this time?
2.5, which is 0.025.
Now this is a little more sensible rate rather than that 8 and that 6% rates. 2.5%, that's, if you stick a bunch of money in something, that's probably the rate that they'll more than likely give you. I know their time is different. Let's make up our own time here. How much time do we want? How long are you gonna leave this money in there?
40 years.
4 years?
40.
Yeah, somebody else said 4, I'm gonna go with 4.
How about 100?
I said 40, but I said 40.
How about 100?
So time, what are we doing?
40,000.
How often? How many times per year? Quarterly again?
18,260.
So that's our N, so amount equals parentheses,
One plus
0.025
divided by
divided by 4 again. Sorry, my parentheses too high. Then we got 4 times 4,
4 times 4 is 16.
so that's 16. Type that into your calculator, see what you come up with.
20,174.14
Say it one more time.
20,174.14
Anybody else get that?
Yeah.
That's the amount in the account after 4 years. How can we figure out how much interest you earned on that account? Subtract those two.
1,914.
So if you left it in there for 4 years, you'd earn almost $2,000 in interest.
That's pretty good.
It's not bad considering how low that interest rate was. Just think if you could find, let's do this, you got those numbers there, those are your answers, but let's do this. Instead of 0.025, let's do that 8% that we were doing at the very beginning. If you could find an account that would draw 8% interest, that's gonna change this number right here to 0.08. Type that in. So type all of this in now. Is it a lot?
Yeah.
What's it give you?
If we just take the 2.5 and put 8,
Yep. 0.08.
8.08, it's $25,067 and 7 cents.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty good amount.
So if you can find an account that's gonna pay you like 8%, 10%,
You could buy you almost a truck out of it.
then if we subtract that, we earn almost $7,000 in interest over those 4 years.
Yeah, imagine getting percented every year, like if you did it, like if you added it on every year, right? That would be
What
like,
number was that?
6.
Number 7.
7.
Let's do this. Number 7. We're gonna do our own.
Bet.
So we do it.
All right. When I was in school, when I was about your guys' age, or actually I was a little younger than you because I didn't have my driver's license yet. So I was 15 years old. I was in a car wreck, and my buddy that was in the car wreck with me, there was like 5 of us in the car, he got hurt fairly bad. And the insurance company not only paid my insurance company, because it was my car, it was my mom's car, they paid for his doctor bills. His insurance company also paid for his doctor bills. So the money that he got from my insurance company, his dad just put into an account for him, all right? And it was like, I think it was like $24,000. So we'll put that as our principal. His dad put it into this account, it was a CD, and this CD drew interest, I think it was at like 6%.
0
He was the same age as me, so he was 15. He couldn't touch the money until he was 18. And his dad just kept it in that
3
account
years.
that whole time.
3 years.
So 3 years.
Did it just draw yearly?
And CDs normally will go quarterly. So they'll normally go 4 times a year. When he turned 18, he actually had enough money in that account that he, when he graduated high school, he just flat out paid for a trailer down there in New Paris at the trailer park, paid for a trailer cash. All right, so he'd have a place to live, and then Once he did that, he lived there for a few years. He still had money left, and he just saved it up, kept it in the CD afterwards, saved it up, and he built a house outside of New Paris. But let's see how much money he had.
That's smart.
So if we plug all that in, that's 24,000 times 1 plus 0.06 divided by 4, and then 4 times 3, which is 12.
28,694.84 made four, interest is 4,694.84.
So back then, he took, like I said, he took that
He
money,
doubled his money.
he took that money, he took that money, paid for a trailer, lived in the trailer for a while, rent-free, because he'd already paid it off with cash. And then after, left that in the account, and it just kept drawing interest for like, I think they lived in the trailer for 5 or 6 years. And then he had enough money where he could build his own house outside of New Paris.
And Mike, he only drove 4,000.
Does it still live outside New Paris?
Yeah, but not the same house, he sold it.
Is that the friend you was talking about that got in the drugs?
Yeah,
Never mind.
Got all that money laying around.
I don't remember.
Never mind, that was a story about someone that, child support, or not child support.
Child support and drugs. Love it.
Oh, yeah, that's a good
Your brother, buddy, or whatever.
No, your stories aren't going
Insurance
together.
fraud.
Somebody
pulled an insurance
He
fraud.
fried the government, told him that he had like all these kids and,
Oh, that was my cousin. That
Yeah,
was,
yeah.
that was to the IRS. That was-
yeah, the IRS.
Sounds like a
I couldn't figure out what story.
All right, jump back to your notes. What do we get? Number 7, what problems did I say you had to do on that page?
1 through 12 and 17.
All right, so do this. Number 8. Mark number 8 off
Okay.
On what page?
on that first page, 226. You can get rid of number 8. And all I want you to do on that page, what page was that? Page
226.
226. All I want you to do is I want you to finish 9 through 12.
No 17.
So no, we can just take 17 off?
Yeah, get rid of 17. I'll get rid of the challenge problem for you.
So 1 through 7.
So we have 4 left.
4 problems left. Next thing I want you to do, jump back to your notes. Compound interest using the table. Not really anything to write down on this one. If you want to write this down, you can. I don't know why you'd want to. Compound interest using the table. The table is just a tool to calculate compound interest quickly. Probably going to be a little different than us doing it with the calculator. The answers will end up being just a little different, not that much. This is the part that you want to write down. This is using the table. These are the steps, how to do it using the table. Give you a second to get that copied down, then we'll do a few of these problems. How to do it using the table.
What's wrong Dude, these donuts are busted.
Dylan, write this down.
That's great.
That X on number 4 is a time sign. I think the formula's pretty easy, but the table's not difficult either. You decide which one's easiest for you, doesn't make any difference to me
I
which
didn't have
one
to
you
write
use.
this much down for the,
That's true. So, but this is just explaining it, how to do it. It's not difficult once you know how to do it.
I think I really use it.
And you did write this much down sort of, because this first part, these two, we sort of wrote that down. And then these last two are just the formulas.
Thing about it, you lose the pencil, you can use others.
Right. You don't have a calculator that day, then you can use the chart, so on and so on.
that's why I can prepare it every day.
This is probably, if you walked in today into a bank and said, hey, I want to put $2,000 in this account, but I want it to have this much by the end of a certain amount, that person that you're talking to sitting there right next to their desk will probably have something like this taped to the wall, and they'll use the chart just to look up how much interest you would draw over a certain amount of time.
Or could you just use a calculator?
Right. If they know how to figure out the formula.
Yeah.
But a lot of times they'll just have this because this is just a quick way to look at it instead of,
I mean, you only need the formula, you just go point whatever, 3.5.
if it's simple interest, then yeah, but if it's compound interest.
Yeah. If it's compound, yeah. Simple's a lot easier.
So again, those two are, you already have on there. You wrote those down in there. Let's skip over this. Should have probably just went backwards. On page 229, get your books out, flip to page 229. Page 229. Number one. Somebody help me out and keep the notes, your notes out so we know the steps. On number one, it said to do what first?
Find the total number of periods.
Total number of periods. So total periods. So for problem number one,
Yearly for 2 years.
it says that Ed Cure invested $2,000 at 5.5% interest, compounded quarterly for 2 years. So if he's doing it quarterly, that's 4, and then 4 times 2 is 8. So that's the total number of periods. Total number of periods.
Interest rate,
What's number 2 say to do?
interest rate per period.
So what we do there is we take the interest rate, what's it say Ed's interest is? 5.5%. So 0.055 divided by per period. How many periods?
8.
4 per year. Somebody do that for us. And actually, we didn't have to change it to 0.055 because the chart doesn't change it. It leaves it as a percent.
1 or 0.01375.
Which is 1.375%.
Okay.
Now, once we have that, we use the chart. So we go to the chart and we find our number. So looking at your chart, you got the number of periods. How many periods did we say that we have? 8. So you go down to 8, and you go over to 1.375. And what's that number from the chart that you see?
1.11544.
1.11544? Is that right?
Yeah.
Right there on the chart. And then all we do with that number is we multiply it, the principal times the chart number. What was Ed's principal?
2,000.
So we take 2,000 times that 1.11544. What's that give us?
2230,
2230,
88.
88. That's how much money he has in the account after 2 years. Is that what it was?
So his interest would be $230.88.
So that's the amount. And then the interest would be $230.88 after 2 years. So nothing really hard about this. You just gotta find the total number of periods, and you gotta find that percentage per period, and then look it up on the chart and multiply that number. I don't know which one's easier, which one's harder. About the same problem.
I think it's easier though.
Let's do it the other way.
My eyes don't look good.
If so.
If we do it the other way, if we do it using the formula, how much money he started with? 2,000, is that right?
Yep, 2,000.
1 plus, what was his rate?
0.055.
0.055
Divided by 4.
divided by 4. 4 times 2, that's 8.
8.
Type all that into the calculator.
Exact same number.
Exact same thing. So either way, either using the formula, using the chart. Let's try the chart on another one here. Let's do number 2.
You guys use the chart, I'll use the formula.
So on the chart, first thing we need to do, how many total periods? For number 2, it says Louisa invested $4,500 at 3% interest, compounded semi-annually for 2 years. Semi-annually means how often?
2.
And if it's 2 years, what's 2 times 2? So that's how many periods. Then we take the percent. What was the percentage rate?
3%.
3%. So you can just leave it 3 divided by 2. What's 3 divided by 2? 1.5%. Then we use those two things to find the number on the chart. So go down to 4 and over to 1.5. What's the number on the chart?
1.06136.
That's a 6 there at the end. And then all we're gonna do is take our amount that we invested or put into the account, which it said Louisa put in what, 4,500? So 4,500 times 1.06136. What's that give us?
$4,776.12.
Say it again.
$4,776.12.
Anybody else get that?
Yep.
That's the amount. Adam, you said you didn't get that?
I got everything. I got 14 cents.
Still pretty close, right? How would we find the interest?
Subtract it from 45.
Subtract that number minus 4,500, what'd you get?
276.12.
$276.12 in interest. So either way, whether it's using the chart or using the formula, we come up about the same. It might be a penny or two off one way or the other. But it should be fairly close. If you're coming like $10 off, something's wrong. You did something wrong. Tell you what, on this page, you can get rid of number 15. So we got rid of 17, you still got the rest of them on that page. And then we just did 1 and 2 together. So you got 3 through 11 and 14 on this page.
9 through 12.
Yeah.
And